To get started, we need to make sure that we have our long and skinny piece of paper, our circle stencil, and a black crayon. Now we need to trace this circle on here 6 times, and we don't want them to be all over the place. It's going to be like a nice long line for our colorful changing critter. So you can start on the right or the left. I think I'm going to start on the right side today, and you're going to hold your circle as best as you can, and you're just going to trace around the outside. Now if you want to do this first with pencil and then jump in and trace with crayon, that's fine. I'm going to just jump right in with crayon because that's how we're going to do it in the classroom, because we don't have time to do it all. Unfortunately, art doesn't last forever. All right, if you draw a little bit on your stencil, that's fine, but you don't want to be like all over the place. Now, you can see I could maybe do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I'm going to run out of space. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of connect them like this, and I'm just not going to draw that part where they touch. Now, you'll also notice I am moving both my paper and my hand, because tracing like this, that's just not going to work. That's just way too hard. So I'm just tracing. All right, and if you want to go back in and push a little bit harder so you get a nice thick line, that's up to you. So I have 1, 2, this one will be 3. And if you have enough space on your paper to fit 6 all in a nice straight line, that's just fine. 3, 4, turn my paper because it's hard to trace under my hand. This makes 5. And then this one will be 6. All right, so let's double check again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles. So we got a nice long line of circles, but it's not a critter just yet. To turn our line of circles into critters, the first thing that we need to do is put a face. So the face is going to go on, if you only have one circle that's a full circle like me, that's the one that the face is going to go on. And so you can draw a happy face, you can draw just like a normal eyes open, there's all sorts of different types of eyes that you could draw. I think I'm going to draw some eyes like this, and then I'm going to give him some eyebrows, okay? And then we're gonna give him a mouth, and our colorful changing critters are gonna be super happy little guys, so we can just give him a little smile. If you wanna give him cheeks, you can give him cheeks. You could give him teeth. It's up to you. And then on top, we're gonna put an antenna. So once again, you've got a lot of different choices here. You could do just straight lines, zigzag lines. You're just gonna do 2 different types of lines. I think I'm gonna do 2 zigzag lines with circles at the end. So now that his head is done, our critter has a face, but he needs some legs. He needs some ways to get around. So his head doesn't get any legs, but the rest of the circles, you're just going to give him some legs so that he can walk around. All right, so we have our critter, and now we're just gonna give him a little bit of a background. And by background, I mean that's the space that's around our critter, because the critter is the important part. But I think I'm gonna put some grass underneath my critter. If you want, you could maybe give him like a branch to be walking on. That's up to you. So there we go. My critter is walking through some grass. Now here comes the challenging part. For this next step, we're going to be using the watercolor crayons that you got sent home. So you should have a red, a blue, and a yellow. Now these three colors are what we call the primary colors. These are the most important colors on that color wheel that we made last week. These colors make up all the other colors. So we're going to use them to color our critter. But if we do it right, we're going to see some magic with these crayons, okay? So we're going to start with red. I'm going to put the other two off to the side. And you're going to color one of the end circles red. I'm going to color this one red and have him have a red face. Now normally we try to get rid of all of our white speckles when we're coloring, but because these are magic crayons, we can actually leave some white speckles, and that is just fine because the magic will help fill in those spaces. Now we're going to keep using the red, but for this next one, we're only going to color half of it red. Okay, so we're going to draw a line right down the middle, and you don't have to push too hard. Okay, you're just going to color red. Oh, you might have to push a little bit harder than I was pushing there because it wasn't working. All right, and then we're going to put the red off to the side. We don't need it for right now. Now the next half is actually going to be yellow. Now these are both warm colors, so remember these are colors like fire or the sun. So I'm going to color this one yellow, the other half. I'm actually going to push nice and hard because we want lots of yellow on here. All right, now the next circle is also going to be yellow. This one's going to be all yellow. No other color in here. And your fingers might be turning funny colors because the watercolor crayons, depending on how your fingers are doing, might get them a little color, but that's okay because it'll wash off. And then this one, we're going to draw a line down the middle and color it half yellow. All right, put the yellow off to the side. We got our last one here with blue. So I bet you can guess what we're gonna do here. We're gonna color the other half blue. This one's going to be all blue. Do your best to stay inside your lines, but remember, the magic will fill in the white spaces so we don't have to worry about those so much. And now this one we're going to do half blue. Now you're probably sitting there looking at it like, Miss Covart, I am all out of crayons. What am I supposed to color the rest of him with? Well, you'll notice we have two halves that are yellow, two halves that are blue, but we only have one half that's red. So boom, this one right here is going to get half red. All right, so we've got the crayon down. Now is the time for the magic. So you're gonna need your paintbrush and you're gonna need some water. You don't need a lot. You're gonna get your brush wet and we're gonna start with the red. And you're just gonna paint right over and you can see that the red is gonna help start filling in the spaces. Now because we used crayon, the water is not gonna go where the crayon is because crayon has wax in it and water and wax don't really get along. All right, so now we're gonna just clean off that brush there, get some new water, and with this one, we want them to mix. So we're gonna kind of go back and forth like this. Alrighty, and that's gonna turn that part of our caterpillar into orange because red plus yellow makes orange. That's why orange always needs to go between your red and your yellow on your color wheel like we made last week. All right, clean off my brush. Nice clean water. And then this one's gonna be all yellow. Fill in those white speckles. Alrighty, clean off your brush. All right, this one's gonna mix again. Let's see what it mixes into. This one makes green because blue plus yellow turns into green. That's why green is always in between our yellow and our blue on our color wheel. Now your green might be a little bit more of like a blue green or a teal than mine. It all depends on how much yellow and how much blue you put in that spot. Alrighty, clean off my brush again. I got blue is this one. This is our second cold color. Remember, green's our first cold color. Alrighty. And then we've got one more at the end. This is red plus blue. And this one is gonna turn purple. Now I put a bit more red in here than I put blue. So my purple is gonna be kind of like a red violet kind of a color. If you put more blue, it's gonna be more of a blue violet color. And if you need to, because I know that this happens sometimes, you can go back in with your watercolor crayon. If you're very careful, you might want to wait until it's a little bit drier and add some more in because you don't want to tear your paper. So that kind of helps my purple out a little bit. So now I have my red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And my color changing caterpillar is complete.